Today we're going to talk about how to use text evidence effectively in your writing. And really it's just a series of questions that when you pick your text evidence to support an argument that you need to ask yourself. When choosing your argument and after you've figured out your thesis statement, you need to consider the following. What argument can you make from the evidence? In other words, what are you trying to prove? You always need to go back to your thesis statement and think, is this evidence supporting what I'm trying to prove? The second thing you need to consider, how does each piece of evidence support that argument? So again, going back to the first one, this is a little redundant. When I look at my evidence as a whole, how is each one of those pieces going to support what I'm trying to say? The next question you need to ask, how do the pieces of evidence relate to and support each other? Again, always think of your thesis statement. So pretty much, when you're looking at your evidence, do they feed off each other? Do they support each other in going back to your thesis statement? Are they contradictory, or do they all flow? And finally, when choosing your evidence, consider, you're going to rate it pretty much. What's the strongest evidence and what's the weakest? You know, when you're looking at them, maybe you have 3 really good pieces of evidence and then you have 2 that are weak. I would always get 5 or 6 pieces to support your thesis, but in your strongest evidence, do you really need the weakest? Can you prove your thesis statement with those 3 strongest pieces? If you can, then maybe you throw out the weakest. You know, and always think of your placement in your body paragraphs. You're going to want to lead off with your strongest. You're going to want to end with your strongest. So let's say you really feel like you need one of the weaker pieces of evidence because your analysis is really going to prove it. That's fine. Put it in the middle when you're organizing your paper so that you're beginning and ending with strength.